Hello, Paul Hamilton here. Let's get straight into it. We're going to create a keynote and just choose a white one for the moment. We'll change it later. And the first thing we're going to do when we open Keynote is we're just going to tap and delete the text boxes. And then we're going to go up to Document Settings in the three dots there and change the canvas size or document size to a square. That way nothing gets cut off. And so to create this world, we're going to use Keynote Shapes. So if we go up to Shapes and go to Places, you'll see there's a few maps. We're going to select the world map. And a little hot tip here is when we select that world map, we're actually going to do something to it. We want it to fill the square. So up at the paintbrush, we can actually go to Arrange and we can actually turn off the constrain proportion. So up here in Arrange, we can actually turn that off. That will allow us to kind of squish it into our square. And don't forget, when we wrap it around the sphere, it's going to go back almost to its original size. So it's going to look fine. So here we can just kind of play around with getting it right. And then what we're going to do is after we've got it kind of filling up our square canvas or our document, we're going to have a look at transforming this into a bit of a nighttime look from above. How would the planet Earth look? So we're going to have to change the land, obviously. So if we click on that and we go up to Paintbrush and go to Style, we'll make that black. And the white's not working for us, so we're going to have to change the document settings at the back later on. We'll do that later on. So what I'm going to do here is do it fairly quickly. And you can really have a play around with this. For example, if I select the wrong kind of pen size, I'm using my Apple Pencil here, and I'm just selecting a very fine kind of yellow. And I'm just going basically over parts of the world. Now, this could be a really great teachable moment. This could be talking about world populations, where is most of the population situated geographically, what parts of the country are they situated. You could start to look at immigration trends. You could use this for a range of different kind of looking at data. I'm just doing completely random dots here. And you can kind of work in some kind of white bits as well. You might find, and as I'm finding here, as I actually zoom out, I'm not going to have a really great look at these dots. It's not going to look so effective. So in a minute, we'll just change the actual size of our pencil here, and we'll just do some bigger ones. Because when we actually put it into the earth, we want it kind of standing out, the kind of lights. We don't want them really hidden, and you can't tell where the population is. So I've just grabbed a kind of thicker brush and I'm just going really crazy here and kind of putting a few in. Once again, it's great if we use Keynote Shapes and our pencil and we just don't grab things off the internet. We're really encouraging our kids to be creators with augmented reality and not just grabbing filters and grabbing kind of cute little characters. You know, get your kids to actually draw some characters or do something similar to this where you're actually using Keynote Shapes in conjunction with your artwork. So I've almost finished there. That's looking pretty good. Might put in a few little white ones as well. And once again, you can kind of take this in any direction that you want. You could use other Keynote Shapes. You could do a range of different things. And as I mentioned before, after I press done here and we've finished our kind of drawing, we want to change the background color of the whole slide. So we're going to do a blue color. Normally I use transparent with a no fill. But that looks okay, but we might go with a bit more of a dark blue. That looks really great, makes the yellow kind of pop. Then we're going to go up to our three dots and we're going to export that as an image. And we're going to press export. Don't forget, after you press export, it doesn't really matter if it's a JPEG or PNG because we're not using transparency. I normally just stick it with a PNG. With the builds, and don't forget to actually save that image as well, so it does go to your camera roll. So let's jump into ARMakr. I've jumped in ARMakr. I've kind of pressed here, and we can start to layer it. So I'm going to press New. I'm going to press the sphere down the bottom, and then I'm going to go to the folder and find that image that I exported. There it is, sitting kind of beautifully there. And when I actually press that, it's going to wrap around, and if I hit the ticky box, press OK, we can actually tap on it on the left, resize it, press the up-down arrow, maybe raise it a little bit off our ground, And we can even tap on the right, bottom right hand side and apply a little effect. We might just put a little spin on that at the moment just to give it, we can kind of see the different lights. Now that looks really great. You can actually see the lights popping out of the countries and the continents and so forth. It's looking really, really effective. And you could actually jazz it up. So if you've got your students, if they've created any little drawings or things that they could put in their space scene, I've just done a quick hand drawn of the Apollo here. We might whack that in, see how that kind of looks from a different perspective. And once again, I always encourage students and teachers to create different layers. So here we can actually see we're starting to build the different layers. One's a three-dimensional sphere, the other's just a two-dimensional, but it still looks great. We might actually go to new here and actually see if we've got something else that we can actually apply. I think we've got a little kind of smoke and kind of a little graphic here that shows a little bit of motion or what's happened as a result. They're always good. And we can position that. That should come in last there. We can kind of position that underneath, maybe raise that a little bit. We can press the up down arrow again to get rid of that line. So if you want to place it somewhere else in your kind of magic square, your plane, you can actually put it somewhere else. Or we've got an old tattered kind of satellite-y type thing here we'll put in. We might move that away. We'll place it, make it a little bit smaller. Bring that up. We might put a little effect on that, maybe a little orbit. But you can see now how we're just starting to create some different layers and some more interest to go with our planet, which looks great. I haven't got this to scale. I haven't got the sizes right, but this is, you'll get the idea. You'll start to play with things a little bit differently. Might raise that up near the roof. You can go pretty high with ARMakr, as long as it can still find that plane. Just a hot tip, if you're finding it hard to actually layer your objects in ARMakr, you want a fairly well-lit natural light. And you'll see there that I've kind of, plain colors doesn't work too great. So I was lucky to get this plain green working, but that doesn't work great. Normally it likes a little bit of a change of color or some pattern in there as well. But the natural light from my garage here coming through is enough to really capture that plane. So there you go. A little ARMakr, a little tutorial on how to make that kind of nighttime Earth wrapped around a sphere using Keynote, using some really simple pencil techniques, just little dabs. And I think the end result's really great. Kids can start to explore other planets and get maybe you could put the moon up there, you could put the sun up there, you could put other planets up there as well. But just a really great fun way of using Keynote Shapes, Apple Pencil, and ARMakr. Paul Hamilton here, signing off.